That compares to no growth in Europe in annual capital investment over that period, and 4% in Asia over that period. China, about 17%. So we're actually growing in capital investment in wireless infrastructure here faster than China. It's good news. 2011 and 2012 were the two best years for internet venture investment since 2000. And on the fiber side, we've laid more fiber in the US in each of the last 2 years than Europe, by a significant amount, double-digit percentage. It's good news. But in this fast-paced, ever-changing world of internet and broadband, where we are in a global bandwidth race, where we do need to maintain a strategic bandwidth advantage, we can't rest on our laurels. We can't lift up our feet from the gas pedal. And we need to tackle the challenges that we know we have as we try to build a sustainable advantage in the global economy in the 21st century. One of the major things that we need is to become the world's hub for super high-speed internet. We need the U.S. to have a critical mass of business and residential subscribers for super fast internet, for 1 gigabit internet. That's why I have been pushing this. That's why I announced the 1 Gigabit City challenge that Mayor Cassidy talked about a little while ago, setting a goal of at least 1 gigabit community in every state in the country by 2015. 1 gigabit allows the kinds of innovations that you've seen described in the presentations before, big data related innovations, innovations that require high-speed video. But the thing about it is 1 gig or multi-gig networks will lead to innovations that we can't even imagine, any more than we could have predicted. That we went from dial-up to broadband, we would have gotten what we've gotten. And that's the beauty of the American innovation economy. As Mayor Cassidy said, and I do believe this, the history of our innovation economy made, right in this part of the country, is that if we build fast networks, innovation will come. And that's what this challenge is about. It's a wonderful thing what San Leandro is doing here, and OSIsoft and Lit San Leandro. You join a small but important number of communities in the country that share your vision and that are making real progress. Chattanooga, Tennessee, built out a gigabit fiber network that helped Chattanooga attract businesses like Amazon and Volkswagen and created more than 3,700 new jobs in Chattanooga. In Kansas City, the Google Fiber Initiative is bringing gigabit service to residential consumers, and startup tech companies have been flocking to Kansas City. Kansas has a new nickname now. It's called Silicon Prairie. But it tells you that there are hungry innovators looking to be in the places where they can develop next generation products and services. We're seeing similar stories in communities as diverse as Cleveland and Lafayette, Louisiana. And we're seeing larger cities take a look at this more and more seriously too. Recently, the mayors of Chicago and New York and Seattle have all come forward with plans to launch gigabit testbeds in their cities. In North Carolina, an RFP was issued for multiple cities in the last few weeks. Nonprofits are developing to tackle this opportunity. The GigU initiative has already catalyzed over $200 million in private investment to build high-speed hubs in the communities of many leading research universities around the country. It's impressive to see the kinds of companies that are coming to San Leandro because of the network here, companies like OSIsoft and Power Factors, and I'm convinced that it's just the beginning and that the strategic rationale for Lit San Leandro is correct, and we'll see more business creation and job creation here in San Leandro. But we need more. These are good examples. We need more. As I said, we need a sufficient market in the U.S. so that no innovator around the world has an incentive to go anywhere else with their gigabit product or services. We want them to come right here to the U.S. And you know what? We want to see communities in the U.S. competing against each other for the best innovators in the world. We want to see San Leandro be part of that competition. Let me address a couple of points that I think I'm preaching to the choir here, but there's some people who say that gigabit networks aren't really about anything substantial. They're just about bragging rights. We're a gigabit community, that's cool. But that's not right. I think it misreads the global context, the global bandwidth race that we're really in, the importance of a U.S. strategic bandwidth advantage. And I thought the story that we heard a little while ago about OSIsoft and why it pushed for a gigabit network here is the perfect example. Here's a business that's been growing here over 30 years, growing authentically, growing organically, and just realizing that in order to continue to grow its business, it needed gigabit networks. What more do you need to hear? That's just one business of many taking advantage of the big data opportunities of the internet to grow and grow and grow. And I guess the second point I'd make on this sort of critique that I've heard from some against the gigabit idea is that it does misread the U.S. history of innovation. We have never made a mistake when we pushed for faster network speeds, whether it was wired or wireless. Now, just to give you a sense of the kinds of things we're doing at the FCC to facilitate a gigabit future, we've launched and have taken major steps to implement the ideas of a broadband acceleration initiative. As the mayor here knows, as others here know, when you actually roll up your sleeves and figure out what can we do to roll out a gigabit fiber network, it's not that simple. You have to think about issues like pole attachments, digging up streets, tower siting if you're thinking about the mobile piece. And we've adopted a series of reforms over the last few years to lower the costs and speed the deployment of broadband infrastructure. I was walking around the streets before, and it's interesting. Parts of San Leandro have all their wires underground. Other parts have them on poles. I looked at some of the poles. And we've adopted rules at the FCC to help on both. So we adopted a set of rules to make it easier, faster, and less costly for internet service providers to string fiber on utility poles. We also developed an idea called Dig Once to help with fiber in the ground. It's a very simple idea. Anytime some municipality or state or the federal government is digging up a road, well, let's lay fiber at the same time, right? Because you all know that the biggest costs in actually rolling out a fiber infrastructure are the costs of digging up roads. The president, just a few months ago, signed an executive order with our idea, making Dig Once the policy of the federal government, and we're seeing more and more communities take steps to implement their ideas in their towns. Sharing information between different parts of city governments that for one reason or another will have to dig up infrastructure, and ISPs who can say, oh, that's great, we see your 6-month schedule, we're going to be there with fiber. One of the things that we announced recently, I announced this at the mayor's conference, as we see more communities tackling the obstacles to rolling out fiber, we're seeing, as you'd expect, the development of a lot of good ideas on how to do it most efficiently. Right now, there's no place a mayor from a different community can go, or a city council, and say, hey, we want to do this, we want to become a gigabit community. What are the best ideas that will allow us to start public-private partnerships, to help private companies in our areas, to what does the best RFP look like, what can we do on Dig Once type ideas. So we are working to launch an online clearinghouse of best practices around the country, a one-stop shop for forward-leading community leaders like we have here to say, all right, we're going to get the best ideas in the country and implement them. We've done a lot more, too. We oversee at the FCC programs that spend about $10 billion a year to support private sector broadband infrastructure. Universal service remains a goal in the United States. In some areas, population density is too low to support the economics of broadband infrastructure, and so we support broadband build-out in rural America. We support broadband build-out by schools and libraries and healthcare facilities. And now we have our Gigabit City challenge. So at the FCC, we're going to continue to work on this. We're going to continue to push this. It's so rewarding for me personally to see what we saw here today. Not just one person standing up and, a voice in the wilderness saying we should do this, but a whole community of public servants, business leaders, consultants, innovators, all coming together to say, this is how we're going to build our community. It's how we're going to create businesses, create jobs, have our community make the transition to the 21st century. So I'm just in awe of what I heard here today. I travel a lot. I see a lot of different communities. And I will tell you honestly that you have so much to be proud of by what you've accomplished here and the path that you're on. I wish you well, and I know that you'll succeed. So thank you all for having this, and thank you for what you're doing.
So this all happened very quickly. First, I want to acknowledge some of the VIPs in the audience. I mean, you're all VIPs. You're here from San Leandro. The fact that you took your time out of your busy day to come here, we all really appreciate. I do want to especially identify Marian Rayosa from Senator Corbett's office, who's here today. One of our really cool partners, Will Barkas of the Mozilla Foundation and US Ignite. Going to be hearing a lot more of them in the months and years to come. Colin Ford from Congresswoman Barbara Lee's office. And Jim Odie from Assembly Member Bonta's office. Did anyone else slip through the net that we didn't see? Okay, if you could, I'm sorry, I'm only here a few weeks. I don't know everybody yet, so.
San Leandro School Board.
Thank you. I appreciate your coming here today. Excellent, thank you. Anybody else? Benny Lee, San Leandro City Council. We have several. Actually, if our City Council could stand up and identify themselves, that'd be great. I'll get to know all of you sooner or later. And I have to say, the staff here, as you know, I've been here less than 4 weeks. I really have to applaud the team that Chris Zapata, your city manager, is putting together. I especially want to thank Jeff, what's your last name? I'm just having Jeff K. Thank you. Yolanda from our office, Judy from Lit San Leandro, and there's a whole host of other people that have really worked together to put this team together in a week and a half, and Chairman from your office as well, Russ, and the team. It's just really been amazing. So I want to invite all of you, please, to stay afterwards. We have some refreshments out in the hallway. Let's do some networking. Let's get to know each other a little bit better. I know the chairman needs to take off. He has an appointment across the bay. Good luck. At 4:15. But again, thank you all of you for being here today, and see more of us in the years to come. Thank you.